Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the virtual event Education Experiences 2021 under the theme Delivering Next-Gen Education Experiences Anywhere, Anytime, organized by the Rendezvous experts in partnership with Schoolnet India and Flip Learn Education. I'm Nisha and I will be your host for today's session. On behalf of our partners Schoolnet India and Flip Learn Education and Education Experiences event team, I would like to thank you for making it to this informative event today. A few pointers to make the most of this session. During the session, I would request all the attendees to keep your phone lines on mute to avoid any disturbance. If you have any questions, click on the raise your hand button or use the chat option. We also have a Q&A session where you can send us your questions via chat. Now, if for any reason you get locked out during the session, follow the same procedure to join back in again. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker today, Mr. Vagish Jha, Head of Academics and Teacher Education in Schoolnet India. He will be talking to you about essential digital school solutions for maintaining learning continuity or reimagining education in a digital world, in which he would cover the following. What are the pain points of teachers and students? Reimagining the role of ecosystem players, and what should be the role of EdTech in this transformation? Mr. Jha is an academic with over 30 years of experience in education and electronic and creative media. While still doing his research under Professor Romila Thapar at JNU, he got into the school education space by getting associated with Eklavya. He then worked as a teacher at an international school in Delhi and moved on to spearhead Education International offering. And then he went on to spearhead Education International, which offers an entire gamut of Indian education materials to the world community. EI, or in Education International, was a unique joint venture of UGC, including all the 4 nodes of education agencies of the Government of India. Leveraging IT for education and research, he was a key figure in the digitization project of the invaluable archives of audiovisual resources and documents at NMML, the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library at New Delhi. He then worked with Learn Today, an education wing of the Today Group. Currently, he's engaged with Schoolnet India as Associate Vice President and is the Head of Academics and Teacher Education. I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Jha.
Good morning, and thank you for this very generous introduction of mine. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you all the teachers and principals and heads of the institutions who have joined today. It is really a privilege for me and an honor to me for being given this opportunity to represent my organization called Schoolnet India and present before you some of the thoughts that has been brewing in my mind and in all of your minds as well, I am sure about it. Since time is short, I would be starting the presentation, and at the same time I would request you, as a teacher, I have always been saying this in my class, and here also I think there is a great value in it, that interruption is welcome. So whenever, wherever you feel that there is a point to be clarified, I will be glad to have a dialogue, because the first of the things that I understand is that how teaching is different from preaching is that teaching is a dialogue. It is not a one-way communication. The time that is provided to me will kind of lead me into trying to share lots of things with me. There is a greed as well that such an erudite and experienced panel and audience that is there in front of me, I should be able to say as many things as I can, but there is greater virtue in engaging with dialogue with you. So I would really request that if there are any points that you would like to make, I will be glad. At the end of the presentation, definitely I would request you to contest some positions or some ideas, or refine or make it much more nuanced than I may have put it rather crudely, if at all. So, Nitin, should I start the
Yes,
presentation? Is this the time, or should we wait for
you
a
can
few
start the
more minutes?
presentation, sir. You can start the presentation.
Okay. So is my slide visible?
No, sir, it isn't.
Okay. So I will have to share, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's coming on, it's loading now. So you can move it to the presentation mode on your screen.
Okay. And I go on to the presentation mode. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's just loading.
Yeah. So this is one of the issues that we have been facing. Some of the most prominent and profound sentences that we keep on hearing. Am I audible to
It's
you?
loading. Yeah,
Can you?
okay.
So some of the profound sentences that we have become used to is that, can you hear me? Am I audible? Is my screen visible to you? And all those. I will be also resorting to some of those lines. So is my screen visible to you now?
It's loading now, sir.
Oh. It had still not completed loading, right?
I can see essential digital school solutions for maintaining
Yeah.
learning content.
Okay.
Yes, it's here.
Okay. Okay. So
Voice is breaking.
I know these are some of the digital hazards, and I have very little wherewithal to tell you anything. We do not know if this is a problem of the bandwidth at my end, or if this is the problem of the bandwidth at your end.
So
But
the
I will
line
try
seems to be fine for us, sir. So you can continue. Thank you.
All right. So I begin with sharing with you the context. And we are all aware of the context, but still it is important to highlight this. I found this Buddha picture very interesting. Look at the eye of the Buddha, and very cautious eye that he is looking at this lady who is approaching him. Very creative image that has been presented to us to highlight the reality of coronavirus. There has been an ups and down in this. Now people wear masks in different ways. Some of them wear here, some of them wear on their hand like a handband. But then the problem is real, and school education is facing those problems in reality. What are the kind of implications for it, for the education? And these two pictures kind of explain to us how this has been. Teaching community showed exemplary ingenuity. And this is a picture from Chhattisgarh, that a teacher is trying to find out a jugaad technology where she is teaching, and this is being recorded, and this will be shared to their students after it has been recorded. The students in front of a laptop and a book is a beautiful example. I'll be dwelling upon it in the due course of time. So here is what it is. The issue, however, is that the most cases online teaching was just a replication of the conventional classroom teaching method, because we were all taken by surprise, and all of a sudden we were supposed to be doing certain things without having much of an idea that what is online teaching for most of us. And this was kind of a replication of the conventional classroom. How effective, how boring it is for all of us to realize at the individual level. The students and teachers both at the receiving end. This was an interesting case. Initially, in the face-to-face kind of situation, only students are at the facing end, but here the teachers and students both were kind of struggling. The global crisis has highlighted the fault lines already recognized by the teaching community earlier, and I would like to draw your attention to the fact that in 2018, the OECD Teacher and Learning International Survey from 48 countries found that only 60% teachers had received professional development in the use of internet and communication technology. And this is, I'm talking of the OECD countries. India is not a part of that, however, but still, I mean, it was the 48 countries represented a cross section of economies and cultures, and therefore this is safely assumed that this is the true condition for our country also. In fact, the situation can be worse here. The close of 20% of teachers reported high need of development in this area, but then. So this is also important that teachers realized and already had a kind of feeling that they need hand-holding in it, and this is something that was coming in. The only thing that took them by surprise is that they didn't know that now this is the only mode that they will have to be resorting to. So use of emerging and disruptive technologies are being deeply felt today, and some of the important words and terminologies that we hear are artificial intelligence, simulation, machine learning, adaptive testing, virtual reality, and all of these. These were the terms that were kind of mostly alien to, and I will not be far from the truth, is that from the teaching community, we were not too much concerned about artificial intelligence. Although we have been facing that every day in and out as our experience. So when you go on to, say, for example, an online shopping, which most of us do, and you looked for a particular cloth, or you looked for a particular book, and you did not buy it. Next time when you are going onto your mobile, you would be surprised to see that same thing is coming up, peeping from somewhere, that, hey, look, you were looking at this, why don't you order for it? Are you looking for something like that? And something or the related, those kind of things. These are all the functions of artificial intelligence, which is inbuilt in most of our computers and mobile phones. This has been a trope as a teacher trainer for me, that whenever I go to the teacher training, and quite many teachers who have been teaching for many years would say that I have been teaching fine, why there is a need for me to go into digital mode, and it is something that will be difficult for me to learn. Now I tell them that have you been using computers? Have you been using your laptop? And where did you learn how to operate your laptop? Laptop is a sophisticated computer, and there are certain functions in in your mobile phone which is much more sophisticated than what is there in your laptop. So if you did not know how to learn, and then when I ask them to tell us that how did you learn how to operate your mobile phone, and they tell us that I learned by doing it, by making errors, by asking somebody. My grandchildren or my children told me how to operate, and those kind of things. And these were all the principles of learning that you were basically sharing with us. And then we said that, look, the educational technology and technology in education is not anything different. It is in fact much more intuitive and simpler than your mobile phone. Anyway, so The National Education Technology Forum of MHRD has also outlined the thrust of educational intervention on education. And it says that teaching, learning, and what are the areas in which this technology intervention is required. So in teaching, learning, and evaluation process, that in supporting teacher preparation and professional development, then enhancing educational access, and streamlining educational management and administration. So almost the entire gamut of education has to be now impacted by the technology intervention. So that is what MHRD has been advising and has concluded. If you go to what National Education Policy 2020 envisages, and interestingly, it also came just before or exactly at the time when the corona was coming in, is that it outlines and in a comprehensive manner the digital education way forward. So suitable teacher training is the first one. Change in pedagogy online, online assessment, blended approach with online and experiential learning, leverage existing platform for creating virtual labs, educational program to be made available 24/7. So that is an access part of it. Then availability of affordable and computing devices. So again, access thing. Optimizing and expanding the existing digital platforms and ICT based initiatives. Provide assistive tools for monitoring and progress of diverse groups of learners. This is interesting. This is still foxing quite many of us. We do not know how to do it, because if the students who have joined my class, I have very little wherewithal to know if they have joined and went off just by putting the joining button on, and if they are there or they are not there. Invest in creation of open, interruptible, evolvable public digital infrastructure. The PM Wi-Fi initiative that has been decided by the central government is a welcome initiative in this regard, and provide two-way audio-video interface for holding online classes. I remember when I was working with Indira Gandhi Open University, and we had started, it was one of the pioneering institutions to have started online virtual talks and discussions. We were still struggling for two-way audio and video. It was basically two-way audio and one-way video. We were only able to listen to what students were asking, and the teachers were responding only based on the verbal cues. So now this has become such a ubiquitous thing. Everybody is using it. So just to take a look at it, teacher training is one of the major kind of things that emerges, and change in pedagogy is another thing that is important. I did something wrong here, it looks like, and I said that I want to annotate, but I do not want to actually annotate. Okay, so online learning is a new normal now, and how to reimagine the new normal in education is the question that each one of us are beset with. We are trying to figure out on our own. And so what is this? I'm going to very quickly tell you a few things about what students are facing, what teachers are facing, and so on and so forth, to kind of align with you, to understand with you that what are the issues that we are facing. So same curriculum has been the problem throughout. Same teaching pace has also been an issue that same style and content. Same homework that is being given to everyone, same assessment that is being administered, and lack of mastery learning is being felt very, very acutely now. Struggling 70% have loose internet, smart kids 10% not challenged, very small number of students, and then private tuitions are becoming more and more unaffordable, and at the same time they are becoming online affordable as well. And peer and parental pressure is mounting. These are the students' dilemma in this kind of a time. If e-commerce such as advertising, media, news, medicine, marketing, etc. can do personalizations, then through internet and devices, why not in education? And that is what everybody is asking today, is that personalization is much more easy to be done by education and in education, and that is the demand of the day. So that is how I mean all aspects of our lives are now, I would say, infested with these kind of personalized, commercialized method of looking at things, but it can be leveraged in education in a much more effective manner. Teachers, can we just focus on teaching? That's the question that we have been asking. So prepare homework and test, one size manual, one size static kind of a thing that is being done. Now we are correcting step level. Insightful correction is very tedious. How do you do those many corrections in that a short period of time is a issue that teachers are facing. And grades calibrate, feedback teaches. So how to go about it? Summarize result, basic reporting versus actionable insight. Where do we get it from? And remembering all profiles, humanly impossible. I was teaching 4 classes, and 4 classes meant 250 teachers, students, almost 240 students, and so many sections included. I have especially kind of a challenged mind where I don't remember names very properly, which is very bad. So students used to get very offended by that. So how do I go and do personalized teaching here operationally? This is really operationally challenging for me. So teachers spend more than 25% of their time on non-teaching, yet critical chores with low return on investment. Can technology augment a teacher for these chores? That is the question that we need to be asking. And as you will see that, yes, this is very much possible, and technology can be a great savior in many of the cases and can make really teaching much more effective and efficient. What students need. Now, what was the problem? And then what students need? What concepts should I learn? So personalization of curriculum is what is needed. Which content should I consume? The content recommendation is very much important. Today, if you look for one content, there is a glut of information that has come here. What is the content and the authentic content and the more customized kind of a content which I want to see? Where do I get it from? I was looking for some information on the freedom fighters, and I found that Sher Shah came up to me as a great freedom fighter. I was startled. As a student of history, I never knew that he took part in freedom movement. So which problem should I practice? This is what is called adaptive learning. How do I go into it? Then the practice help. How do I proceed from the step in this problem? There is a problem I am faced. I am stuck here. How do I move? So where do I get the help in the practice? Then how did I do wrong in this problem? The step level feedback, that is what a student need. Is there a better way to solve this problem? Step level feedback is again required here. Somebody should be telling me that yes, you are stuck here and this is not how you should be going about it. This is the way you should be tackling this. So that step level feedback is required. Where do I stand in my concept mastery? There is a detailed reporting has to come. Somebody else needs to tell me that what are the issues that I need to tackle to really go into a mastery learning. What prerequisites I need to catch up on? Root cause of analysis. Root cause analysis, where exactly I am stuck. What is that? So they say that nested, the concepts are put in a kind of a nested hierarchy. So if there is one thing is nesting into the other one, and if you don't get one, the other one will be problematic to understand. What concept should I review now? Retention profiling. Then who decides how I learn? Do I have agency in learning? Not really. Then am I the only one with this doubt? This is personalized support. There are others also. And this is where the cognitive sciences, the cognitive neurosciences has come to this complete understanding, is that learning is collaborative. Learning is not individual. So how I have a doubt and my friends can solve my doubt, that is much more efficient way of understanding and getting over my problems than going directly to the teacher, which is not always possible for me to do. And then can I see my strength, weakness? This is again same way, the personalized supports that is required. What is my weakness? What is my strength? Where am I lacking? What is the issue that I am facing right now that I am not able to do it? So these are the needs that students face acutely today. If you and obviously I miss my school and my peers. The virtual learning community is there, but then how that learning community can be created virtually is a very, very important thing, and each one of us need to know. This idea of having a community is not only a physical community. The virtual technology can help us in creating that kind of a community as well. And all of us have been experiencing. We are all parts of tens of WhatsApp group. That is also a virtual community. But then there are different ways of virtual community that can be created, especially for learning. And this can take care of a major issue that students are facing. The teacher's need is, what should I teach next? The curriculum personalization is again important part of it. Which group of students need similar help? This is what is differentiated learning, and then you need to really understand that what are the kind of issues that certain group of students are facing. The homework is to be given, so adaptive practice templates needs to be there with me, so that I can, personalized, and I can calibrate my homework for different kind of students, different kinds of homework, which will help them overcome and which will help them grow in the areas of their strength. The assessment, adaptive assessment templates are there that needs to be leveraged. The feedback, personalized feedback, step level feedback is possible through technology, and there are many other processes that are available today for the teachers to give this kind of a step level feedback. What are the prerequisites? What prerequisites is a student lacking? So root cause analysis is now possible through some of the technological interventions, especially those which are informed by AI. I have my skepticism about the total technological solutions to it. The AI also works on algorithm, but then quite much helpful they become, but they are not absolute. I have my clear understanding that technology will have to be will have to be understood by the human mind, and they are also guided by human mind. They do not have their mind, the mind of their own, even though Tesla would like us to believe that. But this is the algorithm that is guided, that guides the driverless car, and that algorithm is made by humans. What kind of mistakes the student is making, that is insightful feedback, is what is a teacher's requirement. And how do I decide what technology I use? Use for teaching. There are number of tools, there are number of methods that are available. How do I go about it? Which one is most appropriate for me to choose? That is where this is a pedagogical decision. It is not the tool-oriented teaching that is required, that I have this tool and that tool and I will be using that tool for everybody, for each and every occasion. The decision of tool is, and which tool I'm going to take up, is a pedagogical decision. I will be very quickly talking about that. So this is what I was trying to point out, is that effective technology instruction, technology integration instruction needs to skillfully combine 3 domains. Those 3 domains are called TPACK framework of digital education. TPACK framework is technology, technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge. And TPAC comes up at the cusp of all three of them. So technology, pedagogy, and content. What do I have to teach is the first thing that I need to decide. Then what is the pedagogy that I'm going to adopt? And for that pedagogy, what is the technology that I should be using? And when all these three come together, then we are doing the most effective kind of intervention so far as technology is concerned, and so far as my teaching is concerned. Because as a teacher, I am not concerned about what kind of technology I am using. My primary concern is that if my students are achieving the learning outcome that I want them to achieve, how will they achieve that learning outcome? That will be determined by if they are engaged, if their minds are active, and if the interaction is happening. So all those things will have to be resolved at the pedagogical level. What are the kind of methods that I should adopt pedagogically so that I will achieve the engagement, I will achieve the interaction, and I will achieve the feedback from the students. So learning loop will have to be completed for me, and in that, technology must help me. So then, what is the best technology for this pedagogy? So then, TPAC has been proved to be a very, very effective method. There are several models that are existing, but I personally have found that this TPAC model that was kind of devised by the Commonwealth of Learning some 12 years ago has a robust feedback of effectiveness. There are every other day new method and new technology framework comes, but they are not tried and tested. This one is tried and tested, and therefore I am sharing it with you. And therefore I am using them for my own teaching purposes. So the features that are the future of the post-COVID education system, therefore, are like this. So the tech-assisted personalized learning is the future of the education. The TPAC is an underpinning of the framework, and I say that you will have to try it out to see that how effective it is. Then the education system and technology must be grounded in authentic learning science approaches. Blended pedagogy is going to stay even in the post-COVID era. So you cannot think of, let the classes begin, but then online classes and the offline classes will have to be blended together. And also teachers will have to think in terms of what is the purpose of a classroom. Classroom purpose is not probably covering the syllabus, but to uncover the joy of learning. And joy of learning can be uncovered only when the classes are used to engaging with the problems that students are facing, the exciting issues that students are facing. And this also requires that the traditional role of teacher, as you know, or knowing all the fountainhead of the purest of knowledge, has to be discarded. That is not going to be true. So the truly constructivist understanding of teacher as a co-learner has to be adopted, because students are far more aware. And the authority, what has happened is that, that the authority of teacher and the textbook has been disrupted. No longer, once upon a time, long ago, when I was a student, for me, the textbook was the final authority. If there is something written in the textbook, that is absolutely non-negotiable. If my teacher told me something, that is, final thing for me. So what today I'm looking at as a teacher, when I'm teaching it after 50 years, as a teacher, I'm looking at transforming my students as a self-directed learner community, which is called, that now there is a word which is not even pedagogy, it is called heutagogy. And heutagogy is the art of creating self-directed, self-motivated learners. That is the aim of education. The teacher's job is not to quench the thirst that is there in the student's mind, but it is to ignite the fire within. And once the fire is ignited within, then you don't have to worry. They will find out. There are several sources of knowing and finding out their way. The idea of boundaryless groups and permeable learning spaces is what is gaining ground today. So with that, now So I started out with setting up the context. Then I followed about what are the problems that are being faced, and then I tried to kind of present before you that these are the kind of solutions that that is required. Now we are looking out for an effective solution, right? So in that effective solution, learning solution, what are the kind of learning solution that is required for me? A learning solution that is based on sound pedagogy. The thing is that offers meaningful knowledge construction. The constructivist learning is still an important part of our life. This is apart from being as a core of NCF, which is now getting rewritten, but I doubt that if constructivist learning is going to be discarded at all. The learning situated in the activity defined by curricula, that is the kind of a solution that will help me. And thirdly, it is sensitive to the learner's need. That kind of a solution, learning solution, that is required. I'm going to, in next 3 or 4 slides, I'm going to talk about the nature of learning solution that we as a teacher will be requiring and will be helpful for us. It is well planned and organized curricular content that I should get. That should allow reflective engagement through progressive inquiry, and reflective engagement is very important. I mean, I am as a teacher should not assume the responsibility of explaining things on behalf of students. Students will have to take up the responsibility of reflecting upon the learning and looking at critically what they are being learning. So that is possible only through the progressive inquiry method. And this is also a situation when I need a real-time feedback. And new age student-centric pedagogy like project-based learning and all those will be required in the solution that I am looking for. So effective knowledge construction happens in practices that engage learners based on their unique learning path. That is the baseline here. Each learner is unique, and knowledge construction, effective knowledge construction happens only when we are aware of the unique learning paths as a teacher. Then comes that what is the kind of a content that should be there? That content should engage, and content is dynamic. That content is not, when I was a student, when there was a faded black and white picture of the the Great Wall of China. And today I can take my students onto the Wall of China through virtual reality and augmented reality. So the content should be engaging. It should be multimodal content, thought-provoking, learning primer should be there, anchors should be there, triggers should be there. That is the kind of a content that is required today. Content organization and synchronization avoids information overload. That is also very important. As a teacher, I have learned that a teacher must not talk down to the students and must not kind of typecast a student that they do not understand. And then they get bored. If you are talking to them, which they already know, they are off. They are not with you. So it has to be synchronized, and it must avoid information overload. It promotes unique differentiated learning opportunities, which is a very tough task, but technology comes in to help us in that also. And progressive inquiry guides the path to create reflective learning opportunity. That is very, very interesting. Sometimes that leads you to go beyond the textbook, beyond the examination, but then teaching to the text is no fun. You see, we are teaching the students, we are leading the students onto the path of their individual journey, and that is very important. So this is again my personal favorite, that content organizing following the principles of multimedia learning and universal design of learning comes up very handy. I'm not going into the detail of these, but I would request you to, many of you would already be knowing about them. So that is, I have found it very, very useful. So this is the kind of a content that is required. That solution must present the content like that.
So, Mr. John, sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes,
we have
please.
another minute before you wrap up, sir.
Sorry?
Another minute, sir, before you wrap up.
Yes. I will not take more than 2 minutes or so.
Okay.
So consider learner's agency is very crucial. We need to say that learner determine what they see, they do, and they access. Then respecting the ability of students to plan, monitor, and evaluate their own behavior, cognition, and learning strategy is important. That is the kind of a solution that we require. And that helps identify learners' strength and improve self-esteem. Self-esteem is very important, even when we are looking at the technological intervention. And use of new age assessment technology in learning processes. So the solution must take care of the learner agency in these many respects. Then it should help teacher to be a better facilitator, to provide support in both synchronous and asynchronous modes, offer integrated ecosystem requirement related to teaching, learning, assessment in one place. Then easy access to curriculum aligned multimodal learning resources, help design effective continuous assessment, makes monitoring and analysis of learners' progress easy and effective, helps teachers schedule classes on a robust learning management system provided by Google or anybody else. I mean, it's not only Google that is providing it, and it gives us real-time feedback to authenticate and offer better insight for appropriate intervention. This promotes creation of learning community is important part of that. Final point on this, that what kind of a solution should be there. So it lets community interact with teachers and peers in a blended mode or maximum achievement for the maximum achievement of learning outcome. Teacher can share learning resources and assess students' progress through authentic tasks, and teachers share good teaching practices and create community of practice that will create impact on education. Community of practice is the most important and crucial operative part of it. What I'm trying to tell you is that based on all these, we have been trying to develop Genio, which is a solution which has been trusted by teachers and students all through. And you need to take a look, and you need to go through that to tell you very, very quickly that Genio is an AI-enabled product, guaranteed grade specific learning outcome for every children. And most of the points that I talked about, unique learning path recommendations, it has multimodal learning options, and for blended learning is there. It is self-paced, guided, teacher support system recommendation, continuous assessment is there, service beyond school curriculum is there, that anytime, anywhere it can be found out, and support is available, and value added service for schools in teaching resources, cloud app model for every time, anywhere and anytime. So solution that offers choice, affordability, blended learning, and better outcome. This has been primarily developed by teachers, and many teachers have been trying, and they are trying to develop it. And I invite all of you as a teaching community, as the leaders of teaching institutions, to give it a try and take it and find out that if you look at it with, so this is self-paced and assisted. It is synced with school, curriculum aligned with curated multi-sensory contents. It is continuous assessment that is provided, adaptive assessment. It is also assisted that unique guided and adaptive learning path is assisted there. The scaffolding through teacher assistants and a learning community that is provided here. So given the kind of a challenge that is there, and it is ever evolving, that is another thing that I would like you to tell. So we have this solution available in right now 3 languages, English, Bangla, and Hindi has been launched just a week ago. And it's a continuous process that is based on the feedback that teachers are giving, the students are giving, the school community is giving. So with that, I thank you. There are a few slides more, but it is not a question of overloading you with that. I have already given a huge throughout, like whatever I thought is in terms of context, in terms of spelling out the problem, in terms of the nature of solution that is required, and one solution that we have been developing and we have been offering and trying it out with the teaching community. I invite all of you to be a part of it We are not looking at our teachers as clients. We are looking at teachers and schools as the partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jha, for that.